Philly. Cleveland's still trying to make their starting quarterback situation happen. Which guy in their QB room will rise to QB1 for the start of the season? And if you're looking for any Philly starters to play today, stop looking. It's not going to happen. But there are a few questions to answer for the defending Super Bowl champs. Now joining us, Eagles reporter Tim McManus. Tim, which position group should the Eagles be concerned about going into tonight's game?
Hey, good morning, Jay. Two positions, cornerback and safety. So some big changes in the secondary for the Eagles this offseason. Darius Slay now with the Steelers. C.J. Gardner-Johnson traded to the Texans. And the Eagles to this point have yet to settle on their replacements. At cornerback, it's been Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson splitting snaps all summer long. The same thing at safety with Sidney Brown and rookie Andrew Makuba. Now, you can see the end zones right behind me. The Eagles last season at Lincoln Financial Field only gave up 7 touchdowns all season. In order to have that kind of high level of play, they're going to have to find guys to step up and surround stars like Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. And we're less than 3 weeks away from the Cowboys with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb coming here to the link. Jay?
Answering questions that the preseason is for. Tim McManus, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Shay?
All right, Jay, let's check in with our football analyst now, and that would be one Sam Acho, who's getting up early with us. And so let's go big picture for the Eagles now, Mr. Sam Acho. What are you focused on most when it comes to the Eagles' offense and Jalen Hurts?
I'm most focused on the offensive line. They're losing 2 of their 5 starters, at least for week 1. Last week on Sunday in practice, Landon Dickerson, 3-time Pro Bowl starting guard, went down with a knee injury. Now, it looks like it's week to week, but he may or may not be available for week 1. Landon Dickerson was a part of an offense that led the NFL in rush attempts. So it was him, and it was also another guard who was gone, Mekhi Becton. Those 2 pieces are going to be integral for this offense to have sustained success. I'm not worried about the quarterback. I don't even know if Jalen Hurts realizes he won a Super Bowl. I'm not worried about the defense. Vic Fangio does not rest on his laurels. It's simply the offensive line and some of the missing pieces that are there.
Right, and they obviously need that offensive line for Saquon Barkley to do what he does and for them to repeat the same kind of success they had a year ago. Stay right there, Sam Macho. We'll be right back with you.
All right, now on the other side of this game, it's the Browns and reporter Daniel Oyefusi joining us out. Daniel, both rookie QBs in Cleveland dealing with injuries. So what's the latest on the health of Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders?
Good morning, Jay. We'll start with Shedeur Sanders, who we're not going to see an encore performance from today. He's being held out because of an oblique strain that he suffered last Wednesday. The Browns say that he's day-to-day, but there is some hope that he'll be able to return to practice next weekend in time for that preseason finale. He's just getting some treatment and some rest in the meantime. Now, as for fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel, he's been dealing with his own injury, hamstring tightness, that kept him out of last week's preseason opener. But there is some optimism that he'll be able to start today's game. He's just going to be evaluated this morning before getting the all-go. If he's cleared, he'll start. We'll see a lot of him and Tyler Huntley behind him, but if not, it will just be Tyler Huntley as the only other available quarterback to play today.
All right, Daniel, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Now, let's send it back over to Shay.
All right, Sam. So the Browns quarterback situation has been one that we're obviously been monitoring really closely. So many QBs, and now they've got injury issues to add on top of that. How do you think the Browns have handled that quarterback situation?
I think the quarterback situation is actually handling itself. The Browns are letting the quarterbacks play it out, but the quarterbacks who are available are showing what they can do. We saw last week, Shedeur Sanders was healthy. Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel weren't. Shedeur Sanders shined. He had another opportunity this week, but now Shedeur Sanders is injured. So this is not going to be a situation where the Browns have to pick. The quarterbacks will choose themselves and decide themselves based off of their availability and how they play. If Dillon Gabriel shines again, he would climb up the depth chart. If not, Shedeur may have another opportunity down the line to show what he can do as number 2.
And Shedeur definitely did shine. He played 45 snaps in his preseason debut, 138 passing yards.
Center, Shea Cornett, Jay Harris, looking at some of the biggest storylines in Saturday's NFL preseason action. Starting with the Browns visiting Philly, where Shedeur Sanders out with an oblique strain. 3rd-round pick Dillon Gabriel likely the starter after he missed last week's game with a hamstring injury. As for the Colts QB battle, Daniel Jones will start today against the Packers, but Anthony Richardson is expected to get the majority of the first half reps as Shane Steichen seeks to make a QB decision, quote, sooner than later. For the Vikings, J.J. McCarthy will be holding the clipboard when Minnesota faces New England after squaring off in joint practices earlier in the week. On the other side, Drake May expected to get some snaps for the Pats. Then at MetLife Stadium, Brian Daboll has not said if he will play the starters, but expect first-round pick Jackson Dart to see the field. Jets coach Aaron Glenn is also mum on if Justin Fields will play. NFL senior writer Jeremy Fowler and football analyst Sam Acho with us. Jeremy, where does Jackson Dart stand right now on the Giants' depth chart?
Jay, he's pretty firmly the 2. I spent time at Giants-Jets camp joint practice this week. Dart was the second guy in line most of the time. He was the second guy in the first preseason game. And I was told from somebody with the team that the expectation, at least right now, is that this week's preseason game could look similar to last week, where Russell Wilson got in there for a series or two. Then it was Dart. Then it was Jameis Winston. So that seems to be how they'll play this at this point. Regardless, Dart will be in there. He'll get a healthy run. They love his toughness. They believe he's a fast learner, highly motivated. All those things are good for the big picture, for the long term. But in the short term, Russell Wilson will be the guy.
All right, Sam, let's go to the other side. How can Justin Fields add another dimension to this Jets offense?
The best thing he can do is to continue to win from the pocket. He wants defenses to fear him, not only as a runner, but as a passer. In last week's preseason game, we saw Justin Fields do it with his arm, but also a touchdown with his legs. So what needs to happen is Justin Fields needs to continue to rely on his athleticism when he needs it, but not every single time. Win from the pocket, make defenses fear you as a passer. That'll add a new dimension to his game and a new dimension for this offense.
All right, Jeremy, we got the Vikings and the Patriots, but no J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
How is he growing into the role of QB1 for the Vikes?
He had a good week. He was great against the Patriots in a joint pad practice. He was on a bit of a heater, was throwing the ball well. The Vikings were hoping that over time he would throw with a little more touch because everything was a fastball early on in camp, but he has improved that. He's worked on it. Different clubs in the bag, so to speak. You know that with your golf game. So he's working on that, looking good. And I talked to Kevin O'Connell when I was at their camp. He said that he has galvanized the entire offense with his enthusiasm and his leadership. So they know they have the right guy for the position from a mental makeup, and they know he has the ability to do it. It's just a matter of getting him ready to get through the ups and downs of camp. He's making some strides. It was a good week for him for sure.
Sam, JJ convincing you that, he's the guy Minnesota could be confident in starting him this season?
He is, and the reason why is not just the mental ability or his leadership, but his physical ability. I saw him last week move around in a pocket a year removed after injuring his leg, out for the season. You saw him take a couple hits as a quarterback. You saw him scramble. You saw a couple design rollouts. That was the biggest thing I was trying to see. How will J.J. McCarthy handle the pressure from a physical perspective? Mentally, it's there. I think the talent is there. Physically, he showed that piece as well.
Okay, let's go to the Colts, Jeremy. Shane Steichen saying he hopes to name QB1 sooner rather than later, quote unquote. So how important is today's game against Green Bay for Anthony Richardson and for Daniel Jones?
Jay, this is huge. I can't overstate it because they hope this battle would be close to wrapped up by now, but I continue to sense that it is unsettled. They had a big joint practice with the Green Bay Packers. I was told that both quarterbacks were a little shaky. Each threw an interception. It was a lot of red zone work. They didn't necessarily flash in the way they wanted. Daniel Jones is probably a little more consistent, but not really flashy. Anthony Richardson had a good 2-minute drive, but missed a lot of throws. So they both need a good day. Somebody needs to separate at this point. Shane Steichen had told me throughout this process that it's pretty much been neck and neck.